Space Shuttle Atlantis carried a laboratory named Columbus to a port on the vast ocean of space during the STS-122 mission. The voyage began on February 7, 2008, with a thundering liftoff from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. 2 days later, the 7 astronauts of Atlantis spotted the International Space Station, their construction site and temporary orbital home. Commanded by NASA astronaut Steve Frick, the Atlantis team set out to lock Columbus into place on the station 4 days into the mission. Spacewalkers Rex Wolheim and Stanley Love used the first spacewalk of the flight to put the finishing touches on Columbus so it could be lifted from the payload bay. Football player turned astronaut Leland Melvin stood at the controls of the space station's robot arm. He carefully maneuvered the 23-foot-long cylinder to a hatchway on the Unity connecting node. European Space Agency astronaut Leopold Aarts moved Columbus the last few inches to make its connection at the station permanent. The laboratory is Europe's primary contribution to the International Space Station. It joins NASA's own laboratory in space called Destiny. With Columbus latched onto the space station, the combined crews of STS-122 and Expedition 16 set about activating the cutting-edge research platform from the inside. Aarts and fellow European astronaut Hans Schlegel took the lead in setting up Columbus. Schlegel climbed into a spacesuit the next day and joined Wolheim on the second spacewalk of the mission. With help from Melvin and Love on the robotic arms, Wolheim and Schlegel installed a new component for the station's cooling system. The third spacewalk focused again on Columbus and its space science mission. Wolheim joined forces with Love to venture into the vacuum of space protected by spacesuits. Making their way from the International Space Station's Quest airlock, the spacewalkers unbolted a pair of experiment suites from a cargo platform in Atlantis' payload bay. The STS-122 astronauts said goodbye to the International Space Station crew. Astronaut Dan Tanney joined the Atlantis crew for the trip home after 4 months in space, while Aarts stayed aboard the station. Atlantis returned to Kennedy on February 20th, capping 13 days in orbit that sets the stage for Europe's space science.
Welcome home, Atlantis. Welcome home, Dan. And congrats on delivering Columbus to its new world.